UFO was filmed from the space shuttle.
The technology we're looking at is quantum leaps beyond anything we have on the Earth.
Unidentified flying objects. Are they actually alien spacecraft? And a decades-old photograph that, to this day, no one can disprove. We begin with a look at the most recent hotspot of UFO activity, Mexico.
The nation of Mexico is certainly one of the hottest areas for UFOs in the world today. And
every week, Masan airs footage shot by his viewers with their own cameras. One type of UFO captured again and again has Masan convinced that something unearthly is going on. And this is what they caught on video. Numerous shiny, apparently metallic discs. Some have called these UFOs the planet Venus. But that doesn't explain this phenomenon.
We have these objects making a formation with more than 20, 30, 50, 100, or probably more than 100 UFOs. They get together, they separate, they make a figure here, another figure there. Very difficult to explain.
Ironically, the most convincing evidence of a UFO may be photographs from nearly 50 years ago, a time when computers that could alter or create images were merely a fantasy. These two shots, taken in 1951, are the most widely disputed, but never disproven photographic evidence of a UFO.
The photographs, of course, obviously have all kinds of implications. That if these photographs are real, then UFOs must be real.
For a conclusive analysis of these remarkable photos, we obtained the original negatives and brought them to the Brooks Institute of Photography in Santa Barbara, renowned for its definitive study of the Shroud of Turin. By using the most sophisticated computer software available on the original negatives, they were able to literally take these photos apart, piece by piece.
I can come in on it and see if there's any mismatch in the grain pattern, the grain structure, anything that's an obvious tip-off as to this being a fake, and there's some sort of darkroom trickery.
The photos were taken by Paul and Evelyn Trent, a young farming couple from McMinnville, Oregon. Could they have pulled off such a convincing fraud?
The Trents were not the sort of people that you would leap to the conclusion they were hoaxers. They had no interest in UFOs. They weren't imaginative people. They were farm people.
To skeptics like Philip Glass, the Trent photos would be easy to fake and are easy to explain.
The photograph almost certainly shows something like a hubcap suspended from electric wires that connected the house and their garage.
But the experts saw no evidence of this anywhere in the photographs.
There's no sign, no hint of anything suspending the object, a thread, a wire. I just don't see any threads or any wires there.
If it wasn't a hubcap suspended by wires, was it simply a model thrown in the air? Not according to the analysis. In fact, the UFO itself offered the most convincing evidence.
I think if it were an item very close to the camera, it would have a much darker underneath on that one photograph. There'd probably be more evidence of some sort of texture, surface detail, when in fact there is not. So for that reason, I'm convinced that it is a distance away from the camera.
How much of a distance? According to the Brooks Institute, it's likely that this object was thousands of feet from the camera. That calculation would make the UFO hundreds of feet in diameter. Putting the theory of a hoax further in doubt is the fact that the Trents never profited from taking these pictures. Even so, Philip Glass is not convinced.
Why would they do this? To achieve fame? To see if they could fool the experts?
If this was, in fact, what the trends were after, if they actually did fake these famous photos, then they somehow did a better job 50 years ago than the sophisticated computers of today. As it stands, these two famous photographs cannot be debunked by the experts, and they remain unexplained. In September of 1991, the Space Shuttle Discovery captured an unidentified object on film. What you're seeing now is actual footage shot by NASA cameras from that shuttle mission. Watch the top of your screen. Note the object that moves from right to left. Two mysterious flashes, and it makes an immediate 135-degree turn and accelerates. This is followed by a strange streak of light, which seems to narrowly miss the unknown object. This dramatic footage has been in dispute since it was shot.
I studied it extensively over maybe a 2-year period at least.
University of Nebraska physicist Jack Kasher worked for nearly 10 years in the research and development of a Star Wars defense system for the upper atmosphere. His quantitative analysis of the NASA footage concludes that the UFO cannot be explained as a natural phenomenon.
It's clearly above the atmosphere and air glow of the Earth. It maneuvers, it changes direction, it accelerates, and so the only thing really left is spacecraft.
Others think this object is simply a small ice particle floating a few feet from the shuttle. Ice particles are a common waste product of the numerous shuttles that have orbited Earth. But Kasher is convinced NASA has recorded strong evidence of a large, intelligently controlled alien space vehicle.
One of the very strange things that happens is that the main object actually stops and sits there for half a second before it accelerates back up to the right. An ice particle could not do that. If they're not ice particles, you don't have too many other options. They're not space junk, they're not satellites, they're not meteors, because those objects don't change direction.
Not every former astronaut is as skeptical.
Well, it is true that there's all sorts of things floating in space, but I don't think it should be dismissed out of hand. We need to take a more careful look at this type of evidence than we might otherwise. I'm quite open to looking at evidence and looking at data that purports to speak of an extraterrestrial presence or some sort of space activity we're not familiar with, and analyze it critically. Perhaps we have been visited.
If you're a skeptic,